Solo, a Star Wars story, is directed by Ron Howard and is the prequel slash origin slash spin-off story of the famous character Han Solo, this time played by Alden Ehrenreich. That guy. And in this movie, we also see beloved characters such as Lando Calrissian, played by Donald Glover, and Chewbacca, played by someone. And we also have some new faces of Woody Harrelson and Emilia Clarke. And at this point, you're either in on seeing this movie or you're out. You don't need that much else to decide if you want to see this movie. Now, like most of the internet, I was not a huge fan of the idea of a Han Solo movie. I'm not a diehard Star Wars fan, but I just feel like the whole idea of this movie is unnecessary. I felt like it wouldn't add anything more to the anthology of Star Wars. It's just more of a filler of, hey, let's have some Easter eggs and show what Han Solo is doing at this point in his life. And after seeing the movie, I can say that yeah, this movie is still unnecessary. It adds nothing to the mythos of Star Wars or anything new to the characters that we love. But I would be lying if I said that I didn't have fun watching Solo, a Star Wars story, for the majority of it. The best thing I can say about Solo is that it has a good, fun summer vibe to it. It has some great action scenes, especially one on a train, and also one extended heist scene in the second act that was probably the highlight of the movie. And of course, the visual effects in this movie are amazing. It is a Star Wars movie. And as I said, it is fun for a majority of the movie, but I'll get into that more than the negative side. For the positives, as I said, it's a very fun movie. There are some very fun action scenes. But probably one of the biggest surprises to me in this film is actually the stars, especially Alden Ehrenreich, however you pronounce his name. I thought that he was pretty good as Han Solo. I thought he was very charismatic. He held the movie surprisingly very well on his own. Since I'm not so attached to Harrison Ford as Han Solo, I would have to have that big connection and be like, oh, this is what you should be doing, and oh, you didn't do that right at this point, and that's why you fail as Han Solo. Since I don't have that connection, I feel like he did very well as Han Solo. I thought he was funny and he was likable for the most part, and so was Donald Glover as Lando. He was another one of my favorite parts of this movie. I just love Donald Glover as a human being. He is very talented and hilarious, and in this movie I feel like he does a great Lando. Granted, again, I'm not so attached to the character of Lando, so I didn't feel like he was doing anything wrong with the character. I thought he was very funny, and he was so, again, charismatic, and he fit the role very well. For some of the other actors, as I said, Woody Harrelson and Emilia Clarke are in this movie. I like both of them, but I felt like they didn't do anything really extraordinary in this movie that made them such a standout. They were both fine in their roles. Woody Harrelson was probably a little better. Emilia Clarke I felt like was very underused, a little bit disposable, but I still like the parts where she shined. But getting back to what I liked in this movie, the first and second act of this movie are very fast-paced and they're very energetic. And then the third act happens where we go to a new planet and then we meet new people that we never really met before. And there's a little bit of social commentary I think I was picking up on. I'm not too sure, but we're throwing these people and ideas that we've never seen before, we weren't expecting, and there's a lot of talking by the end of the movie. So I felt like it was kind of a disappointing note for this movie to end on, especially because I thought the first two acts were very energetic, especially the second act. Also, Paul Bettany is the pseudo-villain in this film. He was only in like 2 scenes, but I also really liked him. And while I did like some of the characters, I feel like there were other characters that were kind of thrown into this movie at certain points, and sometimes they would try to build a connection for us to like these characters, and they were just thrown away too quickly. And I'm like, oh, why did you make us try to bond with these characters if you're just gonna dispose of them? So I thought that was kind of disappointing. But I think that the biggest fault in this movie is that it is a Star Wars movie, and yet there's nothing really extraordinary about it. I can definitely pinpoint in this Disney era of Star Wars films with the last 3 a certain moment that made me feel something, made me feel awe or like a wow factor. There was nothing really that made me want to say wow in Solo, a Star Wars story. Granted, I liked everything I was seeing for the majority of it, but there was nothing that was really wow. Everyone should be talking about this movie. We've seen a lot of this before, but again, I like seeing it again in the form of a Star Wars film. And I feel like the fact that it's a Star Wars film definitely elevated the likeliness of this movie, because there are so many Easter eggs in this movie, and some of them I liked. I just love seeing Han Solo fly the Millennium Falcon for the first time, or Han and Chewie in the Millennium Falcon together for the first time. It's small things like that that I really liked. And then there's some other moments like how Han Solo got his name, which is rather very cringeworthy, and I'm just like, oh, you did that? And because of that, I feel like this movie sadly is more designated towards Star Wars fans, and it'll kind of have a hard time reaching out to other audience members who are not so used to these characters, because also I feel like we like what we're seeing and we care for Han Solo and Lando played by these new actors because we like Han Solo and Lando. If these were just brand new characters played by the same type of people, I feel like we won't have that great attachment or love for what we're seeing. But again, I'm not gonna lie, I did have a fun time watching this movie. Alden Ehrenreich and Donald Glover are very good in their performances. The other actors may not shine as much as they do, but there are a lot of fun action pieces in this movie. It is decent for the Star Wars mythos. Since I'm not attached to the Star Wars saga, I didn't feel like it ruined anything for me. I liked what I saw, and I can even watch this again if it was on TV or something. And I can say that Solo, a Star Wars movie, is a good movie. So that's Solo, a Star Wars movie. Have you seen the movie? Have you not seen the movie? Whatever you think, you can put in the comments below and maybe I'll read it, maybe I won't. Thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't, you can click my last video right over here, and you can click my upcoming video right over here. Thank you as always for watching, and hope to see you next time.